Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on Comics from the Future. This is the show we do every single Friday where we are going to preview and show you what's coming out new in comics so that you can pre-order it and don't miss it, including new series, variant covers. This week we have some local comic shop day stuff to show you. But before we get started, please take a second and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It means so much to us. Give us a little Halloween treat. Why don't you? And in case you don't know, my name is Megan.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Jason. We're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That is right. So we're going to get into it. Lots of new series starting. Like I said, some cool local comic shop day stuff. So let us know what you're most excited about in the comments. And let us know what you're dressing up for. It's Halloween. Because I'm sure you're dressed up watching this video right now. So we all are dying to know.
Okay, so we're going to begin with our featured comics. These are typically issue number ones and just comics we think that people want to know a little bit more about, more than other ones, but they don't have to be the best ones. We'll just see. Let's get to our first.
So first off is Gotham City Villains Anniversary Giant number 1. That's a mouthful. So this is a 100-page giant. It's funny, they use the term giant a lot. And giant can mean anywhere from like 60 to 150 pages. This time it's 100 pages. And it's just celebrating a lot of Batman's Rogues Gallery characters. So you've got characters like Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul, the original Red Hood, Mad Hatter, Killer Moth. But the big thing about this is what all the kids are talking about, because the kids love him. It's Danny DeVito. He is writing the Penguin story. It is a Penguin and Catwoman story in this, and I got a chance to read it. I didn't get to read it real close, but I did get to skim through it, and it's very interesting. It's a little, I don't know if it's a wish fulfillment or what, but in it, Penguin and Catwoman are an item, and Batman seems cool with it. I don't know. In Danny DeVito's DC continuity, Penguin is the hottest
That sounds
guy
like
in town.
When they asked Danny DeVito to write it, he went and got into the character of the Penguin. He's like, "Oh, you're asking the Penguin to write
Yeah,
this."
exactly. Yeah, it is. It's a very interesting story. It's always interesting to see actors and different people who don't normally write comics see what their idea of a story about one of these characters are. But it's really cool. It's also, the art is done by Dan Mora, so it's really pretty. They got their top talent on this. You've got people like G. Willow Wilson, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Joshua Williamson, and a bunch more. So, of course, we have our A cover here. Then we have the Wes Craig cover, who's also doing a story on the interior.
Got some Scarecrow
Mm-hmm.
giving off his toxin.
Then, of course, we have the Frank Whiteley, who just does a great Penguin. This face is classic.
Really disturbing.
Then we have the SAUVAGE variant, which is really nice. And then we have the FEDERICI variant.
Some Ra's al Ghul.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Talia with him.
And then finally the Dan Mora variant, which is cool because anything with Killer Moth on it is great.
All right, now we have a book that has been pushed and pushed and pushed, and it appears to finally be coming out. This is Miss Marvel Beyond Limit. This is going to be a 5-part miniseries written by prose writer Samira Ahmed. She's like a best-selling young adult writer, so cool to see. Always cool to see either film screenwriters or prose writers transfer into the comics realm. So this is supposed to be timed to thematically come out with the Disney Plus show, which has also been pushed and pushed and pushed, I think, to 2022 now. So anyway, this is supposed to come out with that. So it appears to finally be here. So Kamala Khan is getting some Bollywood treatment in this. She is going to Bollywood. There's going to be a lot of South Asian elements, cultural elements. They said from the food to just music and all that is going to be really heavily influenced in this series. And she's going to have to deal with her powers malfunctioning and a surprise doppelganger. So, lots of fun.
I want to see pages and pages of choreographed dancing.
Me too. All right, so we got a few covers with this one. So that was the A cover. Now we have the MOMOKO Stormbreakers variant. Then we have, unfortunately, I wish I could see this. This is going to be the Miles Morales 10th anniversary variant. Yes, they are still coming out with these. and it's gonna be a Scotty Young cover. You know it's gonna be cute. Hopefully it'll have some word balloons and everything, but unfortunately no image for it yet. But I have many customers who just want everything Scotty Young and Momoko and Miles Morales. So if you know you want everything, don't miss this one.
Yeah, when they don't have a young cover, it's almost like your opportunity to try to picture it yourself and see how accurate when it comes out. I can never guess what it's going to say because now he's putting a lot of dialogue in his covers too.
Probably her. She's got some noodle arms and all the fun stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so from Dark Horse Comics is Joy Operations. And this is a comic by Brian Michael Bendis and Stephen Byrne. So this is going to be part of a lot of Jinx World comics are going to Dark Horse now. This is the first one. In fact, the end of this book, I'll guess I'll skip to the end before telling you about it, is there's going to be previews for other Jinx World books that are going to be on Dark Horse. So I know I'm going to pick it up just for that. Previews of books. That's usually a good one to grab. So what this is about is set 50 years in the future. So it's roughly 2071. And there are these cities that are owned by corporations that they call trusts. That's what it's called. So the city is called a trust, but it's owned by a corporation. And Joy, who I assume we see on the cover, she is a security officer for the trust. And she's been doing it for a long time. She's really, really good at her job. She's almost like superhuman level. But I don't think she has powers. It doesn't really say. And everything's going fine until all of a sudden there's a voice in her head that starts trying to get her to betray the trust and go against everything that she believes in. So that's the general premise. I think for most people, you just have to hear it's Bendis, and you know if you're on board or not. So I'm particularly interested because, like I said, it's the first of the Jinx World stuff that's going to be hitting Dark Horse. And this is going to be a 5-issue series. I wonder if it does well enough, if they'll expand it with
Probably.
Boom.
I mean, that's, Dark Horse, since losing a lot of their properties like Alien and everything, this is a big win for them, getting Bendis bringing his stuff over there.
Absolutely.
Also, Byrne was the artist on Wonder Twins, which is a fantastic artist on that.
So here is the variant cover, David Mack. And then there is, I'm going to start off the local comic shop day ordering of the week. We got a bunch more local comic shop day books to show you. So many, we've divided them up. The first one is for Joy Operations. So this is your local comic shop day version of this. You definitely want to ask your shop in advance to order these because typically the local comic shop day stuff is under-ordered. What I think is cool is this book is coming out on local comic shop day, which is November 24th. That is a Wednesday. So it's pretty cool that the actual book's launching and the local comic shop day book for it is coming out as well.
And it should be noted, these local comic shop day covers are not free, and that's probably why they're not ordered as rampantly, because they do cost more.
And yes, most of them are kind of normal price, but then some have foil covers and a few bucks extra. So just look into that.
So next up, we have a few of the DC local comic shop day ones. This is funny because you'll see a cover very similar to this later on. But this is for Task Force Z #2. And it says it's silver foil. I'm not sure what that means with seeing this cover. I don't know what's going to be silver or what. But yeah, instead of the little local comic shop day logo, there's something else there instead on the regular cover. So in this one, we just got the issue 1 of this last week. Really interesting series where Jason Todd is leading a team of undead, not really zombies, but undead Batman rogues for this new facility type thing doing missions. And in this one, he decides that he needs a #2. And who's that going to be? Is the person who's going to be his #2 even alive? And how far does this regenerative thing that they're doing, I still don't want to spoil what it is that brings these characters back, but how far can it go bringing them back? Can it bring them all the way back to basically being alive? So it's hard to not spoil this because I have read this issue, but let's just say there's some big revelations in this one and some surprise appearances by characters who, with a book that characters can come back from the dead, there's some characters that you may thought you saw for the last time, but they are back. So this is the local comic shop day cover for that one. Next, we have the local comic shop day cover for DC versus Vampires #2, another book that came out this week. I love this one. It was great. And I have skimmed through issue 2 of this. So if you like #1 with there is a new hierarchy in the DC world of vampires, and Vampire goes to the Justice League to get their help, only to learn that maybe they've already been infiltrated by some vampires. That gets even crazier in this one. Also, we learn in the first one that Batman has been given kind of the key to fighting the vampires. And in this one, Batman brings that to his family, and basically you now have the Batman family as vampire hunters. And just another slight little, not spoiler, but let's just say, this is an Elseworld thing. Not everyone is safe, and you can expect a pretty major DC character to no longer be with us by the end of this issue.
Looks like they're showing the front and back cover there too.
Yes.
A little bit.
Or kind of, yeah, front and back, and it looks like the back's maybe like a little more zoomed in version of it. And then lastly, for the DC ones, we have the local comic shop day Detective Comics 1045. It's interesting they picked, the other ones are newer series or whatever, but they are doing Detective Comics 1045. So I was looking into, is this a special issue or what? So this is still a Fear State tie-in, but in this one, Batman and Mayor Nakano actually team up. And what I thought was interesting about that is that they team up to stop some of the creatures that are roaming the streets of Gotham now. But we know in Future State, they were still kind of at odds.
Correct.
So is this a kind of divergent point from the Future State things? We'll just have to wait and see. But also the backup story in this is continuing about the founding of the new Arkham Tower, where they, instead of Arkham Asylum, they're building a tower to hold all the inmates. And Batman is investigating this whole thing, and is there any bad things going on there already? And it says he finds an unlikely ally that's not going to make Harley too happy. So it's really interesting who that might be. I don't know. Is it going to be Punchline? Is it Joker? Who knows? But sounds like a really cool issue, so it makes sense that they're doing this one as a local comic shop day silver foil cover as well.
More local comic shop day stuff. This is going to be the indie stuff coming out, just a taste of it. So starting off, we have from Ed Brubaker, Friday. So this is interesting because it actually came out digital first on a website called Panel Syndicate. So the artist actually reached out to Ed Brubaker and was like, I want to do the art. I think they're heavily involved with Panel Syndicate. So anyway, this won a lot of awards. It is... many call it a masterpiece. Ooh. So it has been out already, but only in digital form. So anyway, this Ed Brubaker described it as a post-young adult genre, which he said doesn't actually exist. He just made that up. But I think that's interesting because we get so much young adult just in our stuff. So I like the idea of a post-young adult. So anyway, it follows a teen who was once a promising young detective, but now real life has taken over. So Brubaker said he was inspired by stuff like Harriet the Spy, or these spy novels featuring children. But what happens when they actually grow up? Real world impacts them, and they have to deal with all that stuff. So how is that affecting them today? So it's like an older teen, college age story. He said that he was inspired by the Lovecraft's New England mixed with Edward Gorey. So it sounds like just a really cool artistic expression. So that's Friday. This is going to be, I don't know if this is a single issue or all collected together. I believe it's just the first issue, and I think they're going to release them in print.
I'll tell you, when you're inspired by Edward Gorey, you're giving your artist a lot of work to do. If you look at Edward Gorey, so many lines in his stuff. The title font reminds me of something. I just can't think of what. Like, I keep thinking Peanuts, sort of.
I know what you mean. It is on the tip of my mind.
Yeah.
If you guys know what this is sort of playing on with the font, let us know in the comments. Okay, next up is the next two things. Everything's about the apocalypse. So this is a radio apocalypse. It after an asteroid hits the Earth, only one radio station has survived, and it is basically says doing the playlist of the apocalypse, playlist for the end of the world. So it's going to center on just this area, the people involved in it, and the radio station, the last radio station at the end of the world. We're seeing a lot of music and comics mixed lately too. So this is gonna be a foil full art variant. Challenging me here. Okay, this is a shame that there's no image for this, but this is Chuck D presents Apocalypse 91. Like I said, a lot of Apocalypse. Chuck D, leader of Public Enemy. It's the 30th anniversary of the album.
So we don't have the local comic shop day cover. They haven't produced that yet.
But we do
have.
Perfect.
So here is the regular cover.
Okay, so these should also be coming out together. So it's going to be a trade paperback that is $19.99 for both. So you can get the local comic shop day version, or you can get the regular version. They're both $20, which is great. It is set in 1991, just like when the album came out, but it is quickly gets shoved into the future. It is stories by several different creators. It's speculative future worlds and different people who rise up against power, as you can see by the fists on the cover, in these future worlds. So really cool. Again, music merging with comics. So just $20 for both covers.
Yeah, I really like the stereo speaker fest. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, so getting away from the local comic shop day stuff. A lot of that to think about in order this week. There is a new indie comic called Good Boy. So before I tell you about this, I have something to pose. Stray dogs are so popular that maybe they have sparked a new genre in comics that is dog-based comic, and I'm fine with that. Anyone who knows me, I love dogs. I'm a big dog fan. So check out the premise to this. So this is a world where humans and dogs are equal. So as you can see from the cover, dogs are not on all fours or anything like that. They're basically upright, just a different species, but like mankind. So they work together. Well, this plot is, I kind of described it. It's like a reverse John Wick. That is the plot, which I've got to check this out. So pretty much, Flint is the name of the dog, and his human companion his name is John. They're both assassins, but they've done the thing that no assassins can do, and that's quitting the game, getting out of the game. So they're retired. They think they're good. Well, one night, some of their old companions and people from their old life show up. They're not happy that they got out of the game. They end up killing John, and now it's up to Flint to get revenge because they killed his human. I mean, do you hear this? This is John Wick, but like just flipped around. So I think this is a really neat idea. 3-issue series. So that's a Good Boy for you. And here is the variant cover to that. I wonder if this is going to blow up or if this is just going to be like a blip.
Remember back when they used to do dog comics?
Yeah, it reminds me of the Watchmen. Pirate comics were the thing.
Yeah,
dog comics are going to take over.
I know we're gonna get a crypto series soon. That's how you know that they've permeated the big two.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they do have cryptos in. They're doing the DC Animals movie.
Yep.
So
you're just seeing this is just the early tinges of the next big wave of stories.
Okay, so next up is other number ones. Just the ones we didn't feature, but still lots of cool other number ones to discuss.
First off is Star Wars Adventures Annual 2021. So this is a cool one because start off with this features a story where Han and Chewbacca bring Jabba something they think, oh, this is going to kind of warm him over and everything. They bring him a creature, of course, that's going to cause chaos. But this creature, they talk about it in this, that was originally introduced in the Marvel Comics Star Wars series from 77 and hasn't been introduced in the current canon of Star Wars, and this is what's going to bring them in. So minor first now in continuity appearance of these creatures. But the second story in this is actually by Chip Zdarsky. So Chip Zdarsky is writing a story about a group of troublesome kids on Cloud City who find an ancient coin, only to learn that it belongs to Lando Calrissian, and they're going to have to deal with him. So I'm excited to read a Chip Zdarsky Star Wars story. Hopefully this means we'll be getting a lot more. But yeah, this is Star Wars Adventures Annual 2021.
I'm getting a Trouble with Tribbles vibe on this cover.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
All right, next up is Girl Scouts Stone Ghost. This is a 6-part miniseries, and Girl Scouts, which is by Jim Mahfood, actually already had an iteration a few years back, so this is the second one. I can rarely think of something that is more independent than this. It's written and created by Jim, and the cover honestly does not tell you how crazy and like psychedelic over the top the interiors are. There are some preview pages on Previews World if you want to go check out what's on the interior. I don't know how to describe this or Girl Scouts, but like I said, it is for true lovers of just a truly independent series, and it looks really cool. Like I said, psychedelic.
Jim Mahfood's art is very almost like urban spray paint, like what you would see tagged on things, or like on the bottom of a skateboard.
Yeah.
This is probably the most toned down thing I've ever seen him do.
This cover does not really represent what's inside, but it is by him, this cover. So this is from Image, like I said, 6-part miniseries, and there is a local comic shop day version of the number 1. So here it is. If you prefer that cover, they should be the same price.
Next up is the continuation of Marvel's new little miniseries, or basically made of one-shots. This is Wastelanders Hawkeye. So this is actually based on a podcast, like a audio drama podcast that explores the Old Man Logan universe. So we've talked about the Wastelanders Wolverine. Now we are getting Hawkeye. And in this one, we find out how Hawkeye, who in the Wastelanders universe is blind, how he gets trained, like retrained to use his bow by Stick. But in this version, Stick is actually Matt Murdock. So introducing a lot more characters to this Old Man Logan universe. And yeah, so this will be the second issue in this Wastelanders. I believe it's 5 issues that are going to make up the whole story.
Yeah, there's a Wolverine, a Doctor Doom, a Black Widow, and a Star-Lord.
Yeah.
So.
All right, next up is a series called West. This is going to be an 8-part miniseries written and drawn by John Grund. So this is about magical farmers, and they're planning a heist on big business who is ruining their farmland and their livelihood. But instead, these farmers uncover a conspiracy, which is bigger than they could have imagined. This was interesting to me because this is actually, for all you who want to know some behind the scenes stuff, this is distributed by Lunar, who distributes DC stuff, but it is published by Uncivilized Comics. That's the name of this. So used to, we ordered DC from Lunar, then we started to see Scout and Black Caravan and some other stuff available through them. Now we have Uncivilized Comics, so just showing you Lunar picking up more publishers. And Uncivilized describes himself as a boutique comic publishing house, so I thought that was kind of cool, kind of cute. So anyway, West, if you want to get in on something that is, pretty dang new, sounds pretty neat, sounds like a well-conceived story, so totally find out what this is about later on.
Okay, another independent number 1 is A King's Vengeance. So this is about, they say it's a warrior and a father. I assume he's probably also a king, based on the title, possibly. So he's been killed, and he is brought back to life through some means 25 years after his death, and he goes after revenge on the demons who originally killed him. So not a lot more in the solicitation than that, but I think, right there's a story for sure. So that is a King's Vengeance #1.
It's a strong cover too. It almost feels like a magic card or something that you're looking at.
Yeah, I'm
There's-
looking at like what he's riding. It's like a Yoshi dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
So,
cool.
I hope it can fire eggs.
Next up is a really interesting one. It took me a minute to wrap my head around what this is. This is Tales from the Dead Astronaut, #1 of 3. So this was originally like all published, I believe, digitally all together, but they split up now into 3 parts. And it's a little bit of your anthology, your Silver Coin, your Ice Cream Man, but this one is from the standpoint of a dead astronaut floating through space and what he's observing as he's going through there as he slowly decays. So I don't know why he's still observing things. It looks like he's pretty much just a skeleton now. But it's a sci-fi anthology, if you couldn't tell. And it's so I'm not sure if I believe the original one was split into 3 stories, but these 3 issues will cover one of the each story. So it's not 3 issues per. It's 1 issue per issue, 1 story per issue. The first one is about a living spaceship. The second one is a egotistical shape-shifting rock star. And the third one is a megalomaniac son of a steel baron encased in his own steel suit of armor, explaining to the board of directors why they will no longer be needed. So if you can't tell, it's got a sense of humor, a little quirkiness, weird, kind of that like humor, sci-fi. So sounds really interesting. There's more description about some of these stories that it gets really wild. But I think it's a strong cover, and I'll have to check this one out.
With this and Dead Box and Ice Cream Man, that's the rise of the horror anthology.
Uh-huh.
But I still say the dog comics are going to take over. All right, so our next segment is cool covers and other comics. We're going to show you some variants that we think are noteworthy. We're also going to talk about some issue #2s and #3s, lest you forget to place your order.
All right, starting off for all you Black Hammer fans, this is Black Hammer Reborn #6. We are midway through this 12-part series. This cover features Skulldigger, and it is cover B for the series by Ward and Sheehan.
Okay, so this is the cover to Critical Role Tales of Exandria, issue #2. This is the latest Critical Role series. It is a 4-issue series, and so here's your chance, if you liked issue #1, to go ahead and place your order for issue #2.
Also is Hellboy Silver Lantern Club that just came out this week. This is #2 of 5. So if you want to continue to get your Hellboy fix, sign up for this one.
I dare say there might be a spider in it.
I only see Hellboy right there.
Okay, this is potentially a big one that might go under your radar. This is Department of Truth #14, and the reason this is, cross your fingers, hopefully going to be big, is we might finally get the origin of the Lady in Red in this issue. It deals with Scientology, Scientologists summoning a divine female spirit. Could it be about Our Lady in Red that we've been wondering about since the beginning? So, definitely might want to get a couple more of these just in case. So, this is the cover A. And this is the B cover by Pearson.
So she's finally on the cover, and it's going to be about her. All right, so this is Gunslinger Spawn issue #2. This is the regular cover by Barons. In this, it promises there's going to be vampires and guns and blood, because Gunslinger Spawn has discovered that the vampires have a plan to kill Al Simmons. And he needs to protect him because Al is going to hopefully be part of how he gets back to his own time. So there's your A cover, and here is your B. Oh, we don't have it, or they don't have it ready in time, but there is a B cover to this by Booth.
Next up is Nita Hawes' Nightmare Blog #2. It feels like all the ones I'm getting are like the full sentence books.
A lot of horror, too.
Yeah, so this is the kind of spin-off series from Philadelphia by the creative team that did that. And I did not get a chance to read issue 1 of this, but I flipped through it, saw really cool Cthulhu monster and everything. Had a lot of people check this one out. So don't forget to pick this one up. And yep, this is the number 2. And then we have the really awesome Reynolds B cover.
That's some blues guitaring right there.
Yeah, looks like he probably sold his soul to the devil to play the blues.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Spawn 324. A couple covers to show you here, but the new villain Sin returns in their first appearance since Spawn Universe #1. So that's why this could be a big one. So Spawn 324, this is the A cover, and we also wanted to show you the V Barbary cover.
All right, so check this out. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 81. This is the Dyne variant. D-Y-N-E is the last name of the artist. But this issue has Miles Morales going up against Ben Reilly. Or really, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And the reason is because the Beyond Corporation doesn't like anyone else using the name Spider-Man. So they send Ben Reilly to go tell Miles to quit using that name. And I don't think it's going to go very well.
I kind of love this new like corporate version of Spider-Man where like Ben Reilly is the official trademark Spider-Man, and he had to like check with Peter Parker about that. And
It's
everything.
interesting. At least they're using that plot line right away.
Yeah.
You know, like right off the bat, because that's something I thought of. It's like, oh, you want to be this Spider-Man? You know, there's other ones.
Yeah.
Right away, they're launching into it. I don't know how they're going to resolve that.
Next up is Avengers Tech On #5. So this is issue 5 of 6. So the series is almost over, but I love they've been doing these Momoko covers, spotlighting each of the different kind of mech suit robot armor for the characters. So yep, this is the Momoko cover for #5.
All right, so there's never, I don't know when to say this, but there's so many paper shortages and problems, and not just comic industry dealing with that, but you're going to see a lot of comics advertise their #2s before their #1s, and this is a great case of it. Black Panther #1 has not released yet, but Black Panther #2 is already here on FOC. This is written by John Ridley. You know it's going to be good. You know you're going to want to check out #2, but unfortunately you haven't got to read #1 yet. So anyway, just want to let you know, might be more and more of a problem coming up in the next few months, so make sure to get your orders in accordingly. But this is Black Panther #2, cover A, and this is the Lashley Miles Morales 10th anniversary variant. And then lastly, another Scotty Young cover. They're just working him too hard. He's not able to finish it in time for FOC, but that will be available as well. There's a few more if you want to go check out on Previous World the artists involved.
Yeah, we've said this on many past shows, but when we retailers have to order a #2 before we get to see any sales data of #1, we order less. And I'm not saying we specifically, but a lot of our retailer brethren, possibly your store. So this is happening more than ever, which means more than ever it's important for you to place your order early. They're probably going to be ordering less. So, okay, so check this out. We got 2 Eternals variants to show you. This is the Castellani variant, but notice the characters, this is the MCU variant. It looks like the characters from the movie.
Yeah.
Of course, the movie's coming out this weekend.
So soon.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
that's why I wanted to remind everyone. I didn't want people to see it and then go, dang, I should have ordered that. I mean, I guess you could see it on, Thursday night if your theater does it Friday or Saturday and still get your order in time. But they're doing 2 different versions with the characters looking like that, but sort of the old style font and titling. So here is the Wall MCU variant. So I had a good time just looking at them. And
That is really cool.
Yeah, seeing the actors, but drawn in the early style.
Next up is Hellions #18, and this is actually the final issue of Hellions. So this has been a really cool series so far, but the big thing with this is it's kind of going out with a bang, and they are bringing back the Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, which is going to spell some interesting issues for certain X-Men characters. So if you want to see her big return and what does that mean, you have to check this one out. So this is the Momoko cover, and then we have the Tan cover.
All right, another example, #2, before #1 comes out, but we do know this is going to be good. Written by Donny Cates with art by Ryan Otley. Hulk #2, this is where his rage has reached an all-new level, and Bruce Banner has to try to figure out how to control that. So that's the number 2. It's coming out. We got another cover, the Woods Devil's Reign variant.
Well, at least we had the free comic book day stuff
Yeah.
on this to get a taste of it as we wait and wait and wait for these number 1s to get here. All right, so next up we have Kang the Conqueror number 5. Now check that out. That's the A cover.
That's awesome.
I really like that one a lot. Yeah, I saw it and I was like, we got to put this on here. So this is the final issue of the really popular, really interesting miniseries that finally, I guess, really explores who Kang was before he was Kang. You know, it all starts with him as Nathaniel Richard. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Getting Toxic Avenger vibe from that cover.
I get an Ice Cream Man vibe, but then again,
yeah,
I read a lot of Ice Cream Man. So, and then there is this variant cover. This is the Scan variant cover.
So next up is Miles Morales 33, and it's funny, I didn't know you were doing Amazing Spider-Man. This is kind of the other side of it. So
Really?
in this one, Miles and Shift, the globulous clone of Miles,
Right.
go on a quest that says it has dire effects on both of them, but also, what does it have to do with Ben Reilly? So it feels like if you want to read the full story of the licensing deal for Spider-Man's name, you'll want to check out both of these.
I would mention that there's a Devil's Reign
Yes.
variant that they didn't have a cover for, so we just thought we would at least mention it. If you're digging all the Miles variants, you're going to want to look for that one.
All right, this is Star Wars Darth Vader number 19. This is the A cover. This is going to be a good issue. Vader leads a team against the criminal organization Crimson Dawn in his effort to bring order to the galaxy. So, great cover, but this is just cover A for number 19.
And like the last screen, there's a Dodderman variant that they didn't have ready, which I'm really interested in. Dodderman, you know, he was doing all the really cool X-Men one. We have the multiple rogues, and I don't think he's going to do that for this.
That
Who
would
knows?
be really cool.
All the different Vaders,
I
it's
would
just like
love
3.
I'm going to blind order it regardless. Dodderman does really good covers, and with them not having it up in time, it means that most retailers will under order. So there's also the 50th anniversary variant for this that they didn't have ready as well. So this is the A cover to The Thing number 2. This is his little 6-issue miniseries that's going on about Ben Grimm. I think the more noteworthy thing, though, is it has a Kevin Eastman variant.
That's
cover
awesome.
to it. So that's for Thing number 2.
It's a character that Eastman, like, I've never seen him draw the Thing, but that's exactly what I imagined his Thing looked like. It's just so street level and dirty and rocky.
Yep, the rockiness for
Yeah.
sure.
Next up is Venom number 3. So still really excited about this one to come out, and we're already talking about issue 3 of this, and we still don't have issue 1. But in this, I'm speculating a lot of it, but it does talk about that Dylan is struggling to harness his symbiote because his symbiote had a decent relationship with Eddie, but this is still kind of a wild animal symbiote, and Dylan is having a little harder time controlling it. So it's kind of back to early days of Venom feeling. So sounds really cool, and this one will also have a Devil's Reign variant that is not available.
Yep. Cover not ready in time. Because, yeah, I was looking at the cover. I'm like, is he eating someone, or is it more like a rejection situation?
Yeah, it feels like Dylan, you know, now that Eddie's gone, the symbiote is having some issues.
Right.
Some separation anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah.
All right, House of Slaughter number 2. Number 1 did come out this past week, so hopefully you got your hands on that. It was, what was it, like one of the most ordered books, definitely from Boom. So yeah.
Right over here.
House of Slaughter, of course, this is a spin-off from Something is Killing the Children. Not focusing on Erica Slaughter this time, focusing on her handler and rival Aaron instead as he climbs the ranks in the House of Slaughter. So hopefully you got to pick up number 1 and order number 2 right here, right now. This is the A cover. We also have the B Deladera variant. And then cover C is a blank sketch variant with some blood on it. So there you go. Choose your favorite.
All right. So from Aftershock Comics, this is Cross to Bear #2. So I reviewed #1, and I have to say, I've read so many comics, I can't remember if #1's actually out.
It is.
It
It came
is.
out this week.
Okay, good, because we were also away. All right, so I gave my early review of it. I thought #1 was really good. So #2, Edgar, our main character, he has to decide if he's going to rejoin the order he left so long ago because he was tired of hunting down these monstrous individuals. He, he has to decide if he wants to rejoin the order because Jack the Ripper has come to his part of the world now. This is set in the Wild West, so Jack the Ripper has left London. He's in the Wild West, and Edgar's old order is like, you got to help us with this guy. He's literally killed a bunch of our agents, and we can't stop him. So I thought issue 1 was cool. Here's a chance to order up on issue #2.
Next up is Wonder Girl #5. This is the Frizzen variant, which is really cool. Frizzen's actually done another a Diana variant that's very similar to this. They kind of mirror each other. But in this one, Yara ventures out to find her tribe of Amazons, and this I feel like they're maybe not as welcoming as Themyscira Amazon. So I'm excited to read this one, and you get a awesome Frizzen variant.
All right, next up is Harley Quinn #9. Of course, we get another awesome Derek Chew cardstock variant for this. In this, Harley teams up with the Gotham City Sirens to take down Scarecrow as part of a Fear State tie-in. So, here you are.
This is the Bermejo variant for Detective Comics #1045. Andy talked about it during the local comic shop day feature part. So, you know, Batman and Mayor Nakano must... his name was trips me up. Mayor Nakano.
Yep.
Have to possibly team up against the vile sort of creatures. You were suggesting that maybe this is where it's going to diverge from Future State. That's interesting. They could go a couple ways with this, because I think what is probably going to happen is Batman and him are going to disagree, and it's going to lend the mayor more, right to give power elsewhere. But it could also be that maybe they have a secret alliance. So this would be something where the mayor could publicly be saying he's against Batman, but maybe they secretly are talking all through Future State.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm pretty interested. Now that you mentioned your different version, I now have 3 versions of this. But here's the Bermejo variant on that.
Next up, also one I've already talked about, but Task Force Z #2. This is the A cover for that. And then we have...
Bane, go away on the bottom there. Some kind of chant, some kind of like little kids singing Freddy's chant or something.
Yeah. And then we have the Sarmento variant.
And then we have Action Comics 1037, Cover B, Julian Totino Tedesco variant. This is Superman and the Authority face off against Mongol. I really love this one. It's just a really old school, very cool with the bubble space helmet. So this is for Action Comics 1037.
Yeah, I know on some of the comic message boards, people are already talking about
Yeah,
nice.
what a great cover
Superman
this is.
can't technically breathe in space. He can hold his breath a long time, but if he's out there for extended amount of times, he needs a head bubble.
Okay, so this is issue #2. This is the regular cover for Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target. So if you enjoyed #1, here's your chance for #2. Aquaman and Green Arrow continue looking into the mystery of a possible altered timeline. And if you read issue #1, you know what I'm talking about.
Next up, like I also talked about before, this is DC versus Vampires #2. You see Batman there equipping himself to go vampire hunting. And I mean, in this, the whole family's getting in on it, and they get some pretty cool classic vampire hunting weapons. So this is the A cover, and then we have the Matina B cover.
Alright, this is really cool. I love the cover for this. This is Deathstroke Inc. #3, where Deathstroke is going to hunt Cheetah to the storybook fantasy of her creation. Really cool. This is just the A cover for Deathstroke Inc. #3, and then our B cover is a Matina cardstock. Not as Lisa Frank as the A cover.
They keep Matina busy over there at DC. Okay, so this is issue #2 for Human Target. Yes, you probably have not read issue number 1 unless you're a retailer because it's not out till this week. But unfortunately, they're making us order issue number 2 already. So in this issue, Christopher Chance, he has 11 days to solve a murder. If you don't want to spoiler issue 1, don't read the solicitation because it literally spoils something from issue number 1, and I'm not going to say it. But there you have it. So this is the regular cover, and then we have the hair sign variant. Now this is the connecting variant that we got to see all of, and it's really impressive if you see all of it. But that first one was not the best part of it, and it kind of gets better as it goes. So
next up is Robin number 8. This is the Maniple variant, and this one's exciting because it's Damian and Connor Hawk have a rematch. And if you know about when you lose too many times in this, you're done for good. So this is the Maniple variant for number 8 of Robin.
Okay, we have a reason we're showing you these things. This is Barbarella number 5, the Derek Chew cover, as you can probably tell. But probably even more cool is Barbarella number 5 has this on FOC, this bonus variant that you probably know is a TMNT homage cover. They love doing homage to this cover for TMNT. They love it so much, they're doing it also for Invincible Red Sonja, number 6, which is also on FOC this week. So they did this with Red Room. Anything else you can think of lately?
Kanto was the first big one, I remember.
They just love doing it.
They just did Army of Darkness. Well, on our last Comics in the Future, we showed one for Army of Darkness, and we showed one for Purgatory.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about these, so these aren't things that people will see in previews, guides, or anything. These are ones they added to the FOC, which is like they tell us days before the order is due. So, I mean, a lot of people don't know about these.
Yeah, so if you're trying to collect them all, don't miss these.
Yeah. Okay, so now we are getting into more printings. Here's a big one, though. It is Superman, Son of Kal-El is going back to... The issue number 1 is going back to 3rd print, but then we have issues 2 through 4 going to 2nd print because of all the press it made. Now, issue number 2, of course, is very important because it's the first appearance of Jay Nakamura. So we had people coming out of the woodwork for his first appearance. I'm glad they're doing a 2nd print quickly, so this can get in the hands of some of those people. This is the issue number 3 2nd print, and issue number 4 2nd print. So there we have it.
Which is good because our store is all sold out.
Yes, before issue number 5, which is going to be big.
Next up is a book I hadn't heard about, but it's already going to a 3rd printing. This is the Recount 3rd print, where a Secret Service agent named Bree Bartow must protect the vice president at all costs from a mass conspiracy group called the Masses. So, sounds interesting. Get on the 3rd printing.
Now we're going into graphic novels and more.
Alright, real quick, we have $16.99. This is Naomi, brought to you by Brian Michael Bendis. A really very popular character. Lots of good stuff in here. So this collects 1 through 6, and it's just $16.99. Naomi, Season 1.
And they're recreating her original cover now with the actress that's playing her on the show, which is really cool.
You may remember that.
All right, so this is the trade paperback to the United States of Captain America. The series just wrapped up. Very interesting, very cool series. I enjoyed it. It is $17.99. Cap and Sam Wilson hit the road when Cap's shield is stolen in a plot to, well, you just have to read why they stole it in this.
You read the whole thing. You could tell them the whole story.
I could, but I will say some high points in that they have further help from Bucky, or rather Winter Soldier, and U.S. Agent, so it's all the Caps getting together by the end of this, and they meet different Caps along the way, people who have taken up the mantle for their local communities. So pretty neat story, a lot of cool interaction with the different Caps. I'll say the writing of it, they all have very different voices, and I think that was really impressive. So $17.99.
This one's awesome. They are re-soliciting or re-putting out, I believe with a new cover this time, All-Star Superman, the deluxe edition. Hardcover for $34.99. This collects all 1 through 12 of what many consider the best Superman story, the most definitive. Like if you can only read one Superman story, Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman is a great one to do. Really breaks down the character into kind of what makes him who he is. And yep, this hardcover is only $34.99.
But if you can read any second Superman story, you might want to read Superman Red and Blue, the hardcover that is $40, collecting the whole series. You guys know what this stuff is, but it's really beautiful and nice to see. It is done in his signature colors, red, white, and blue. Maybe a little bit of black in there occasionally. Yeah, I can see it. Anyway, $40 to collect the full hardcover.
And here is Teen Titans Academy hardcover volume 1. It is, you could probably even kind of guess somewhat what the name is.
Mm-hmm.
They're calling it X Marks the Spot.
They're really, I mean, what's this series going to do once they get done with Red X?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say they're going to give Red X his own series.
Probably.
Or her own series, or whatever Red X is.
A robot?
Yeah, could be. So this collects Teen Titans Academy issues 1 through 5. It also collects all the Future State stuff, which was the precursor to Teen Titans Academy. It also, they throw in Infinite Frontier 0, because there was a lot about them all sort of getting on the boat and heading towards class. And the yearbook issue. That's all collected in this for $30, I believe? Yes, for $29.99.
Makes sense. I was wondering at first why it was a hardcover, but that collects a lot of stuff, a lot of the extra stuff, not just the first few issues. Next up is one I'm really excited about. They are finally collecting Lobster Johnson into his first omnibus. This is Hellboy. When Hellboy reads comics, he reads Lobster Johnson, the noir detective with the burning hand that he brands people with the sign of the lobster. This is so cool. It's such a fun series. If you're a fan of Hellboy or kind of noir stories, this one is amazing. I can't wait to get this one.
All right, then it is Masters of the Universe Revelation, finally collected in trade paperback. This was the prequel to the Netflix show, written by Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And it is $20, so lots of people came to this late and couldn't find issue number 1 or number 3, so get it all collected here for just $20.
Speaking of comics that have turned into successful shows, they are releasing Deadly Class, all new hardcover editions. So there's 3 of them, and you'll see that they've all designed them together as I show the other covers. This, of course, is by Rick Remender and Wes Craig. So this is volume 1. Oh, each of the volumes is $49.99. Here is volume 2. And they are also releasing a volume 3.
Next up is one that I wasn't too aware of until I realized it's because it's been 35 years in the making. This is Time Squared by Howard Chaykin, one of his original creations, a jazz-infused, supernaturally tinged film noir series that has had 2 volumes in the past, over the past 35 years, and this collects the final volume of that as well, all together, completing the story. So, yeah, if you are a fan of Howard Chaykin and were a fan of his series, it's finally coming to a close with this omnibus.
All right, time for a big boy. This is $125, over 1,300 pages. Dr. Doom's Book of Doom omnibus for $125. This is the main cover, and it is Victor Von Doom's incredible life story and his encounters with all sorts of characters all over the Marvel universe. So this is a pretty cool one. Then we also have the direct market variant. Shows like a classic version.
Look how unafraid he is as all the heroes rush him. Okay, so this is the Hawkeye Epic Collection trade paperback. This is not a hardcover, but it is 432 pages for $39.99.
That's a bigger one of these than usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, Clint Barton, he just has so much history, because this is going to be like all his big moments. It's going to be his first appearance. his first solo series, and just a ton more. So much I couldn't like keep it all in mind, but it's all the major Hawkeye events from the past, all in one 432-page book.
Next up is one of my favorite series that I read and I came to very late, but this is Jessica Jones Omnibus. This is only $100, and it collects Alias 1 through 28 and What If Jessica Jones Joined the Avengers, which is the one-shot issue. Fantastic series by Brian Michael Bendis. Highly recommended if you like the Netflix show or want to see where it came from. This is so good. And yeah, only $100. So this is the direct market. And then we have the other hardcover as well, where you see her back when she was the superhero Jewel.
All right, then we have a couple of She-Hulk omnibuses. So this is She-Hulk by Peter David. So you can get almost all of the 2005 She-Hulk content by Peter David. This is only $75. This is the Deodato Jr. cover, and then we also have the McGinnis direct market variant.
All right, Vader fans. So this is Star Wars Darth Vader, the hardcover of his 2015, the first series, once Marvel relaunched, once they got the property back. Mm-hmm. This is by Kieran Gillen and Salvador LaRocca. This is $100, but it's the whole series. It's issue 1 through issue 25, which is the entire series. It also includes the Vader Down one-shot and all the Vader Down tie-ins. There was a few tie-ins in the Star Wars comics at the time. So all of that in there, and this beautiful hardcover for just $100. And we have this is the direct market cover, and then here is the variant to that.
It's the X-Men, mate. This is when the X-Men went to Australia. X-Men Inferno Prologue Omnibus hardcover for only $100, collecting right before the big Inferno storyline, where everyone thought the X-Men were dead, but they actually all went in exile into the Australian outback. You know, Wolverine loved that. Right before things went crazy with Inferno, one of the biggest X-Men storylines of all time. And yeah, only $100 for this first volume. This is the Adams cover, and then we have the other cover.
So when everyone thought the X-Men was dead, they had launched Wolverine's first series.
Yeah.
And that's why he called himself Patch.
Yeah.
Was because they were supposed to be dead. He thought no one would recognize him with his adamantium claws.
He
and
didn't bother like
patch.
getting a haircut or anything else. He's like, no, this eye patch will be enough.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have Dark Knight's Death Metal #4, the soundtrack special edition with Manchester Orchestra. This has the little flexi record that you can use. It says it's featuring Never Ending. Anyway, good luck getting this one. It is limited to $3,000 or $3,000. It's limited to 3,000 copies. And that's approximately how many stores, comic shops exist in the U.S. Or is it total or in the U.S.?
In the U.S.
In the U.S. So, yeah, good luck. Maybe let your store know. Hopefully they get it. But I know a few people who have been collecting these will try to get it for you, hopefully. So, yeah.
Yeah, we tried to order more than a dozen last time they allocated, and I think we got 2. So, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention these.
Yeah,
I mean, this is good info because you could be the first to call your shop. Or, as Megan suggested, you could pay us $3,000.
Yes.
And we will definitely get you
We'll
one.
make sure
guaranteed.
you get one.
I'm limiting you to $3,000 that you can get me.
All right, and that is our show for this week.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you have a happy Halloween. Hopefully I did not blind you with all of the sparkles.
All the bling.
We really appreciate every single person who watches, especially those of you who take the time to comment. We have a really nice comment community, so feel free to let us know what you're excited about. Let us know what you're doing for Halloween. If you have any good movie recommendations, let us know that as well, or good comic recommendations, horror comics in particular. So anyway, we will see you guys. They'll see you on Tuesday for their review show.
Comic reviews.
And then we'll see you again on Friday for the next Comics from the Future.